care who they put in there at tackle. Woo! They got to deal with us. There we go.
What's going on, sports fans? It's Josh Williams back again with another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. I do apologize for missing last week. You know what I mean? Some things happened, but excited to be back on the air with you guys today. Excited to talk about the NFL draft, talk about the NBA playoffs. Eventually, you guys will care about other sports besides those two, and I'll talk more about them. But I have to start by saying, you know, my man to my right is the bearded one, but it's a different bearded one. George is gonna be taking some time off, so I've got to introduce a guy that I've wanted to bring on the show for a while anyway. And you know, we've done shows before, and now we're gonna do shows again. Death Star Dave Nobles. Dave, how you doing?
Hot Take Kid back behind the mic. Can't wait to say some really dumb stuff that I will instantly regret.
Dave, we will get these clips out. Yeah. You don't have to worry about that. The clips are coming down.
I will say some things.
You're gonna.
I will say some things that people will disagree with, and if you agree with it, seek help.
Oh my goodness! Before we start, list off all your teams, who you're rooting for, you know, and then give a little brief synopsis of why.
All right. Some of these realistically have no reason. Growing up out in Las Vegas, you don't have teams, and I hate Los Angeles, so none of those teams were going to be for me. Knights fan from growing up here, Bills fan for no reason, and it's not like that really ever had a bandwagon, so you can calm down on that. National champion University of Michigan Wolverines fan.
Yep.
I no longer acknowledge baseball after the Ohtani deal. I made that call. I made that call a year in advance when he was going to the Dodgers, who I hate with a fiery passion. Second only to the Lakers. Well, third to the Lakers and Ohio State. And OKC. I was a Sonics fan. I never went away.
Wait, so if the Sonics come back,
I will return.
Really? You're gonna return like the stats?
That's tough. I love this team so much.
Oh, that's actually really good.
I love this team a little too much, honestly, because I tried to get away, but like they had just drafted Kevin Durant, and I was like, I tried to be a fan of another team for one season. That didn't take.
Dave, when we had another show, the Sonics, they had no hope of going back. There was always like, oh, come on, bring them back. Yeah. But there was never really hope. I didn't think about that. They're coming back.
Oh, they're going to be
back in the next year or two.
Them in Vegas, yes. No question. That's the two next teams.
Yep. And then I think it's going to be Memphis is going to absorb into the East, which would be the smartest move because then it'd be 16.
I would hope so.
It would be 16-16.
Well, you would have to do Memphis or Minnesota.
Nah, New Orleans would be the next one over.
Yeah, that's true. New Orleans, yeah, both Memphis and New Orleans. That's too far.
They travel a lot.
That's too far. That is a lot of miles for a lot of games. It's way too many.
Their owners are not happy at the airline cost. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, listen, I think their owners are not happy for many other reasons too. They aren't exactly known as the highest spending teams.
No, they have to draft. They have to build through the draft.
No, you're drafting there.
And then who was your baseball team? I can't remember.
Giants.
Oh, that's right.
That's why I hate the Dodgers so much.
That's right. That makes sense.
The only other place I ever lived was the Bay, so I mean that's when I had adopted the Giants and Sharks. But being from here, the Knights removed that from me very quickly.
I don't wish to talk about the things of leaving teams behind. Let's go around the world in sports. Trav, cue that. There it is. That's the one. So first off, we're gonna start around the world in sports. You know, today's gonna be a very NBA, NFL focused show, as most shows, which bores the hell out of me. But I hate all of you. But it is what it is. We're gonna start with MLB, and we have to talk about these MLB jerseys. The MLB is officially going back to the old uniforms in 2025. So enjoy a year of see-through pants and bad nameplates.
How are they not doing that already? Because, I mean, I saw Bryce Harper already snuck back into the old uniforms
No,
a couple
I didn't
weeks ago.
see that.
Yeah, you could see because the letter size is so small on these new ones.
They're horrible.
It's very obvious when they go to the other ones.
Yeah. Trav, I think you have those pictures of the jerseys. Yeah, here we go. So this is my Cubs. This is a version of the Cubs jersey, Canario versus Canario. That's already trash enough.
It's so bad though. They're so thin, and it's just they're Nike jerseys, but Fanatics makes them. But Fanatics couldn't get all the jerseys ready, so they've had like City Connect games where they couldn't wear the City Connect uniforms because they didn't have the jerseys ready.
What? So okay, and then so this was the other side of it, right? The MLB came out and made a statement, and they were like, it's not Fanatics' fault, yada yada. Nike, and I was like, they really threw Nike under the bus, and Nike's paying them $1 billion. And then you get to the bottom of the ESPN article, the MLB and the Players Association are investors in Fanatics.
Yeah,
I was like,
no kidding.
That makes sense.
Man, that guy, what's his name, Michael Rubin, and he has figured stuff out. He is everywhere. By the way, how are you the ones making Nike jerseys? I never figured this part out.
Yeah, that was news to
And
me.
Nike had been making uniforms before this.
Plenty.
And
for
clearly
years.
no problems. I mean, they're clearly making all the NFL jerseys. They make all the NBA jerseys. They make all the best college team uniforms.
Yep.
Because Lord knows those Adidas teams ain't winning anything.
No. Under Armour every now and again throws some heat out there sometimes.
Women's college basketball.
Yeah. They are riding over that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I was excited to read it, and then I was like 2025. I was like, that's a cold take.
No kidding. I just don't understand. The players have hated these the first time they got them. I mean, those pants are see-through. See-through.
I did not include a picture of said.
Yeah,
pants.
I saw a number of them before the season started. I was like, oof, buddy, it's a tough look. I just don't understand how you can mess this up so badly.
Not on a professional level. You just can't. You can't do it.
No, I mean, I feel like
and then that was the sweat. That was the other
sweat
thing.
coming through too.
On the my man looked like he just got out of the shits. He's been in the sauna.
But that's the thing. Like, I mean, Nike's been making these high performance things forever and a day.
Yeah. So
I have a hard time blaming Nike. I mean, I do wear Nikes all the time, so it's a little tougher there. But I have a hard time believing they all of a sudden forgot how to make clothing.
Yeah, that's actually
I blame
fair.
Fanatics.
I think this is Fanatics doing too. That's a topic for another day. Up next, I have to sneak in some hockey news. My Caps season is over. We got swept by the Rangers. I thought this was going to go 6 or 7. I figured we were going to put up a fight. Way too many penalties. I think each game had like maybe 7 or 8 penalties called, which for playoff hockey is just egregious in itself. And we just couldn't stop their power play. Alex Ovechkin said to blame him for the playoff sweep. This was his first career playoff series with no points. I won't blame Ovi, but as the captain, he's got to take the blame.
Well, I mean, not only you're stuck taking the blame when you're the captain, but as great as he is, you have to decline at some point, right? Time comes for us all. I mean, and now it's given us the lowercase playoffs. No Caps.
I hate you so much. I will say, I think Ovi's going to break the record next year. I think he breaks it next year. I think
that has to be why he's hanging on, because he.
Oh yeah, he still has like 3 more years on his contract.
Yeah, but I mean,
he signed this one to break the record.
Yeah.
And then cascade off into the sunset.
Well, he can break the one breakable record.
Oh, he's not breaking.
But the other records are so untouchable. No one's ever getting those.
No. Like, and that's actually one of my favorite sports stats. The oh, all right. Let's make sure my phone is on vibrate. That Wayne Gretzky, you could take away all of his goals, which he is first all time, and just his assists.
Correct.
He has the most points in history.
And it's not close.
That's disgusting. Like, everyone else, you can add all your stuff together and you still can't catch me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's he put those records in a place that, I mean, even the goal one going down, it's like, it's still crazy that it will.
Yeah.
But that's the one reachable one. The assists and points those are impossible.
I don't think anyone else, like when you look at the top like 60 in goal scoring, like 4 of them are active, and everybody is on death's door.
Well, yeah, well,
it's not getting much closer.
It's like you look even in baseball with home runs being up and the way that they're playing the game, which is tough to watch in a lot of ways, where it's home runs or strikeouts.
Good Lord.
But you also have like all these people, like the old records that used to be like the mainstays, like 3,000 hits. I think we've seen our last person to ever get 3,000 hits.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I feel like there's only a few guys that are even able to possibly do it. But then, like you said, we sit out a lot more games now. There are no Cal Ripkens that are going to play 162. No. If you play 130, you're like an Iron Man in today's game. So that's already 30 more games worth of opportunities for hits that are just gone every season.
No, and that's the biggest part is I was looking through the list the other day because I remember when we were seeing like the most recent people get to 3,000 hits, I was going through it with somebody. I'm like, look and see where some of these people are. If you ever pull up those rankings, they have no chance. And 300 wins, forget about it. That will never happen again.
Wow. Yeah, and you know what? I thought Kershaw was probably going to be the next one.
Well, it's great that he wasn't.
How many? Hold on. Before we get out of here, how many wins does Clayton Kershaw have? Do you think? How many do you think he has?
I think he's over 200, but not as much over 200 as you would think.
Okay, not enough to be close.
But you have to remember they're getting there's a lot of times they don't get the decisions now.
210.
Yeah,
he has 210 wins and 92 losses.
And his career is basically over. Pretty much.
Well, the worst part is he was still elite last year. Kershaw just doesn't necessarily want to play. Like the guys in our day, they would play till they were 44 or 43 and still be like solid enough. Like Kershaw still had like an ERA like that was, I believe, below 250.
But yeah, he's had still solid seasons, but I think you just have the way the strategy of the game works now, the way they had the pitchers come in and out so much.
Opportunities just in general.
Well, but they also, they've got these guys throwing these pitches that they shouldn't have been throwing since they're little kids.
Fair.
And then everybody's got Tommy John surgeries. Everybody's missing a year.
Yeah, that's
Used to be your career was over, but like some of these guys were pitching forever.
Yeah, and multiple Tommy Johns now. Oof. And before we get off of Around the World in Sports, have to give a shout out to Candace Parker announcing her retirement yesterday. 16 years, 3 WNBA championships, winning her last one last year with the Aces, 2 MVPs, and don't forget 2 national titles with Tennessee and Pat Summitt.
Pat Summitt, the great Pat Summitt.
Candace Parker, one of the first women to dunk. Like, I'm still trying to figure out the Ace nickname because we never have called her that. And that commercial.
They had that before her.
Huh?
Before she came here. Well, it's because of the way she spells Candace.
Yeah. Is that?
That's why.
Okay. That's where it comes from.
Yeah. No, they called her Ace for years. Yeah, I first heard it when she was in Chicago, which, by the way, 3 titles with 3 different teams.
Yes.
Because she had the LA one, then the Chicago one.
Chicago sure did win. You're right.
Yeah.
I did not think about that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. All right. And then the 2 MVPs, one of the greatest women of all time.
In my top 5.
In your top 5
In
all
my
time?
top 5.
Who's your top 5 women all time?
Top 5, Cheryl Miller.
Okay.
Taurasi. Candace Parker. Brianna Stewart.
Yeah.
And reigning finals MVP, A'ja Wilson.
A'ja Wilson is top 5?
You better believe it.
Man, listen.
Look at her influence on all these young ladies out there right now. I've even seen men wearing the one leg sleeve. Don't play about A'ja.
You're right. That's fair. Man, top 5. I didn't even think about this. Now you got me on the spot. Cheryl Miller definitely has to be in there. Cheryl Miller.
I mean, there are other players you could put in there, but I feel A'ja has a strong argument.
Oh, okay. All right. You're back to A'ja. Well, Cheryl Miller for me. Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops, one of the first women with her own shoe, and her shoes were worn by men. And this is back in the 90s. She had heat for shoes.
Yes.
Diana Taurasi for sure.
Absolutely, she's unquestionably.
Nancy Lieberman.
Oh, you really want to throw it back?
Yeah, Nancy Lieberman was out there playing with men.
That's true.
Don't forget about that. Harlem Globetrotter, and then also just amazing player all overall in her career. And then, man, fifth, I'll have to go Stewie as well. What Breanna Stewart has done, she's been one of the greats as well.
I think the women's modern game, it's just so advanced.
Yeah.
You see some of the previous generations of players, even the greatest of players. I think some of them couldn't play in the league the level that it is right now. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like Cheryl Miller, even from when she was playing, Cheryl Miller, you could drop her on a court today
and still,
from like her USC days and Team USA days, and she'd get buckets.
100 points in a game, you can say what you want. That is what it is.
She had 100 points in a game.
Yeah,
it could have had more.
Yeah,
but they made him stop.
Game's over. Switching gears over to the NBA, we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. And today our NBA segment is sponsored by our friends at Coco Love, the beverage of choice of the American Fan 365. Please head over to www.Coco Love Water for your own case of coconut refreshment and use the code TAF365 for your discount on Hawaiian Beach vibes. And I need to actually switch Coco Loves because I've already drank my first one.
You have an issue.
Let's go ahead and crack the second one. All right.
I might as well crack it since you're cracking it.
Yeah, you got.
You don't want to crack it on air.
No, it's no problem.
As you know, on previous things that we've been on, I may have cracked a couple of other beverages
for sure.
on air a time or two. I remember a draft we had that I may have gone a little off the rails.
I was not there for the draft. Remember, I was working the Big Three at that point.
I still maintain myself. I will say some others did not.
Yeah, that's one
of them's a very close friend of mine.
All right, so we're gonna start, and we're going to. I wanted to do this last week on last week's episode, right when the playoffs were first starting. We can do this. Playoffs are still going. My picks haven't changed. I'm not going to lie and say, I had these people. But we're going to pick a winner of each series and then give one reason why. So we'll start in the East. Celtics versus Heat. The Celtics are up right now 2-1 over the Heat. And I took the Celtics, and I'm just going to say my one reason was injury.
Yep.
No playoff Jimmy.
That's it. Whole reason.
Yeah, I mean, like, now if playoff Jimmy was there, this would go 7.
As great as this Celtics talent base is, I don't think much of Missoula. And the Missoula-Spo matchup is the fact that they've won a game
is a 10-8
is a credit to that man. 10-8. I think 10-8 might be generous. I was talking to my friend Bruce the other day, and he was bringing up like that he thought that Missoula was actually a good coach. And I was just like, I don't see it. I think Missoula has a great, talented team.
Yes.
I think if you gave a better coach this team, you'd be talking making runs at like Warriors regular season records and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you completely. Without Jimmy Butler, I can't believe they took a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think if they're able to, I think the main thing really when it comes to the Celtics, if you can keep the game close, they buckle a lot. They're a very big front-running team. Like when they feel good, and it goes back to the coaching. We can feel good. Oh, we can play loose. We don't have to really execute. When it gets down to the nitty-gritty, and that's what playoff basketball is, and we have to execute, and I have to have ATOs, and we got to have something after a timeout, and we need a bucket right now. Like I'll tell you right now, everybody out there, anytime the Nuggets get in trouble, it's going to be a side pick and roll, Jokic and Murray.
Yep.
And whatever you do, I'm going to be right.
Yes. Yeah, there's no answer for that because if you play off that, you have Porter outside sharpshooting. You have Aaron Gordon cutting down the baseline.
Yep.
You have
KCP sitting in the corner waiting.
Yeah, you just have options, and they have guys. Listen, as great of a season as they had, and he's had a good year, Jaylen Brown still can't go left. At all. Porzingis still is an injury risk. Drew Holiday was a huge upgrade.
Yes. Porzingis, injury risk, but then also I said this a couple weeks ago, he's never been in these moments. This is his first real playoff pressure. Dallas, when he was in Dallas, there wasn't really any playoff pressure. Like the Mavericks were still plenty happy about winning a title.
Yeah.
It's not Boston. Boston, go ahead and miss a free throw down the stretch and see how that works out for you.
No kidding. You shouldn't even. If with a better coach, I don't think we'd even be discussing it because their margin of victory in the regular season, they should be one of the top 5 teams. And if you notice, a lot of people don't believe. Everybody still thinks Denver's is the favorite to win the title.
Yep.
When every metric you look at, and with that roster, we should all be picking Boston, you would think.
Yep.
But nobody is.
Nobody's picking them. Up next, we got the Knicks versus the Sixers. The Knicks are up 3-1 right now. And my one reason was simply the Garden. There is no place like an energized Madison Square Garden, as we've seen, as we saw in that the first 2 games. The Garden is electric, and they're going back for Game 5 to close this thing out, and I think they will.
No, I agree with that completely. You also have to remember, the Embiid injuries and everything. Now you add Bell's palsy to the mix. He's had everything go wrong for him.
Yeah.
They clearly upgraded at coach, but once again, you can't even think about it. It's like, well, what if Embiid was healthy? If Embiid was healthy, they wouldn't be playing the Knicks. They'd be in a better series with a better matchup.
Yeah.
That they could steamroll, and just this Knicks team believes. They believe in the new king of New York, Jalen Brunson. They believe in that combination of those Villanova guys.
Yeah.
And you have guys who, with the exception of the people who've gone out with injuries, even with like Randall, you have guys that are playing those Tibbs minutes.
Yeah.
No, Josh Hart is out there playing Tibbs minutes. It's not good for the rest of your career, but it's what they do. But it's working. They have good chemistry.
Yep.
And they shouldn't be as good as they are. They're good, but none of us saw this for Jalen Brunson. Nobody. You can't tell me. Even when he was College Player of the Year, nobody thought this was happening.
No, and I thought it was when it happened. I thought I wanted them to get Mitchell, so I thought this was an absolutely horrible pickup.
And now you can't. Now you can't even. You can't even think of discussing Mitchell.
He honestly made us all look like fools, and I'm happy for
Everybody.
him. I'm happy that he did.
Bet on yourself.
Yeah, I'm happy that he did. Man, it's going to be interesting. I think the Knicks, truthfully, they get through this one, and I think they make it to the conference finals.
It would certainly appear that way.
Because
look at the matchups.
They've got so up next they would be let's see, who would they be taking on?
Bucks Pacers winner.
Yeah,
that looks real appetizing right now.
Yeah, and so as far as the Bucks and the Pacers, I actually took the Bucks. That was before I knew Giannis wasn't going to play through the first 4 games, and then Damian Lillard gets hurt for the last game.
And with an Achilles thing, it's not like he's going to come back ready.
It's an Achilles. I didn't see what it was.
He's inflamed his Achilles. So he's had an injury issue there before, and it's not that he's young either, and he's not big. He's a tough guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm never going to disrespect Dame Lillard like that, but no Giannis, no Dame. Dame had to be a superhero for the win that they've already gotten in that series.
Yeah.
The Pacers are too fast, but the part of the reason that they're horrible for the Bucks right now is why they're going to play right in the Knicks' hands the next round. They can't stop anything.
You're reading my notes. That was exactly what I said. That was the reason why I picked the Bucks, was because the Pacers, they play no defense.
They're an awful defensive team. Tyrese Halliburton, I love watching him play. He should be talked about for his criminally horrific defense in the same breath as Trae Young. And Trae Young has an excuse. That man is small.
And he's got bad hair.
What hair he does have. Not that I should really be talking on the thin hair thing, but I don't have the baby hair like Trae does.
You're not holding on and holding on.
I don't look like a lollipop that got stuck in like dog hair.
I love it. All right, switching gears over to the West. Your number one
Oh, hold
seed.
on. You forgot the Cavs Magic.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped down. You're right. That was the next one after the Knicks Sixers. Yeah, Cavs Magic. I actually had the Cavs in that one, and my reason was inexperience. For no other reason that the Cavs had, especially just with this particular group, they just lost to the Knicks in a tough series last year. They lost that series, but they were involved. They were in the series. I think that went to Game 6. And these Magic, they have like no players with playoff experience.
No.
So I just figured the inexperience would be the thing to do them in.
But the thing I've thought all season with the Cavs, even when they had that run, their chemistry's weird, man. They don't seem to respond to Bickerstaff that well. I mean, they should be out talenting the Cavs.
They should be.
We haven't figured out. I mean, no one's figured out what the answer is for Evan Mobley. Shouldn't he be a little better by now?
Yeah.
You know, Jared Allen hasn't exactly been known as a playoff performer. Their only real playoff performer is Donovan Mitchell. What I worry about the most is I liked Darius Garland a lot.
Yeah. He's
regressing.
Yeah, he's kind of disappeared.
But it's tough because you're a point guard who's built as a facilitator who can still also shoot, but now you're on a team where Donovan Mitchell has to have the ball and should have the ball.
So what is your role? Yeah, that's fair.
So I think it's tough because he should be the point guard, but the ball has to be in his hands, but he's not a distributor really in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But it's tough to call. That's why the only reason I would pick the Magic is they're a tough defensive team. They can go out there for the stretches that crazy man, Jonathan Isaac, out there. He is the most disruptive defender in the league when he is on the court. He's just not on the court that much. And Jalen Suggs is a maniac on defense as well.
Yep.
So that's why I thought they had enough defenders to throw at Mitchell to mess things up.
Who do you think gets this one? Because this one's 2-2.
I'm gonna, even though it goes against how this series has gone, which is the home court, I would take the Magic just because these last couple games, that weird Cavs chemistry where it kind of seems like maybe Mitchell's halfway out the door. I would take Orlando just because of that, and I like Mosley as a coach way more than Bickerstaff.
Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair. I still lean a little Cavs, but you're 100% right. And the Magic have started to see something, because at the beginning it was like they were getting railroaded, but then they started to chip into that, and so now this is where coaching really comes in, where it's like, what's your second, third, fourth pitch? You don't have one? Oh, okay. Well, now we're gonna just start pulling away because we do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And Mosley was top 3 finalist for Coach of the Year. They're way ahead of schedule.
As he should be. All right, now we can switch gears over to the West. OKC, your OKC Thunder versus the Pelicans. I had OKC in this one. It's currently 3-0, and I simply just said too much. OKC just simply has too much, and then also no Zion on the other side.
Which is a monumental factor. That can't be understated.
Too many. You guys have too many paths to victory. Too many paths.
It's not just that. Look at Brandon Ingram's face. Lou Dort is ruining that man's life. He does not want to be out there anymore. He is ready to be on vacation.
Cancun on 3.
Oh, he is. But Dort is going over every screen. He is taking that man's will to play basketball away. Lou Dort, always one of the most underrated defenders in the league. Never been on an all-defensive team. I have no clue why.
Yeah.
But no, and not just biased as a fan, but you have the Coach of the Year doing a fantastic job.
Okay.
By far, and I don't think a team comes within miles of this. The closest and best team chemistry, gosh, I've seen in years.
You think they have more team chemistry than the Nuggets?
As far as I'm saying on the court, off the court, this team loves you. You see, I mean, you probably haven't seen it as much as I have because I watch like every Thunder game, every post game press conference. There's 5 guys breaking into the press conference. I'll start barking at the reporter. The reporters have started barking now. It's taken on a life of its own. It's like they're not quite ready yet, but sometimes these not quite ready teams win.
OKC. Remember when they weren't ready before and they made it to the finals?
Yeah, I don't think they're ready. And my biggest problem is the only complaint I had about it the whole season was not getting size at the trade deadline. Because that's the one way you get this team. That's why they can't. The team that is their complete kryptonite is the Lakers. They have a nightmare of a time with the Lakers. LeBron and Anthony Davis just bully them uncontrollably. And they have guys that are willing. They just don't have guys that are big enough.
Yeah.
But in a series like this, once Zion's out, all you had to worry about is Valanciunas. The Thunder can shoot. The Thunder have too many players that they run him off the court. By the end of the game, they're playing Nance.
Yeah. Valanciunas isn't staying in that game. He's not going to be able to. Well, and then also just he's not going to give you the offensive upside to keep him out there. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Valanciunas is never going to go drop 30. That's
No,
not. That's
but
not.
he's had great games in the regular season against the Thunder. But the key for them is having two big guys they have to worry about.
Yeah.
So it's this is not the series that they were going to lose. They have other problems upcoming. And I'm a realist. As much as I love this team, they're not beating Nikola Jokic at any point this year.
Hey, but look, listen. For them to face him, they've got to get to the conference finals.
Correct.
And that would be its
Which
own.
That's their other best. That's their other best avenue. Is
Yeah,
them
man.
and Minnesota traded wins this year. They were even against each other.
Yeah, see, and that's we'll get to that matchup. That's going to be a dogfight either way too. So because they've already moved on, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Up next, we got the Nuggets versus the Lakers. I said gentleman sweep from the beginning, so look like I'm possibly going to be prophetic, and I should have put a parlay in on that. My one phrase was Jokic. Last playoffs finally stamped Nikola Jokic as a problem. You know what I mean? That everyone could see. Because myself included, I had never truly watched him. Like, you used to always talk about him. This is going back years. And I was like, white boy can't play. But I finally watched and was like watching full games and was like, oh, he is. And now I love to watch him play.
Well, and the part of it is there's nothing you can do. Anthony Davis is playing the series of his life.
It don't matter.
He's playing great defense on him. Doesn't matter. He's going off every game offensively. Doesn't matter. Part of their problem is the Lakers are getting off to great starts every game, and it feels inevitable. Even the game that they won, it still felt inevitable the whole game. And the Nuggets were playing terrible.
Listen, they were down 15 with 3 minutes left and got that thing back down to 5.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, at no point do you ever feel like this team is out of it. You feel like a run is coming. Mm-hmm. You know, just not just the Murray Jokic thing. Like, I remember when they first got Aaron Gordon, it's like, oh man, him with this guy he's a perfect sidekick for him.
He really is, and I'm really, really happy for Aaron Gordon.
Their only issue versus where you would think that last year they were better is you had like Bruce Brown and Jeff Green coming off the bench, who they weren't great players. I mean, I'm a big Bruce Brown fan, and I'll always have a soft spot for Jeff Green.
Always.
But it's
former Sonic.
Correct. Former Sonic.
Former a lot though. That's Jeff Green.
Former number 5 pick. Yeah, that's former a lot of teams. He's been on half the teams of the league
easily.
But no, Uncle Jeff was a favorite. But they had the know-how and the experience, and they're the kind of guys you can put out there in the tough moments. They don't seem to have that with the young guys yet. I think Brown has kind of proved himself okay, but I don't know like the Peyton Watsons and the people like that of the world are ready for those kind of minutes, especially since Murray still seems to not physically be okay. That's my only worry. I'd still pick them over anybody.
Yeah.
You know, until I see a team beat Jokic 4 times, I will not believe that a team is going to beat Jokic 4 times.
Yeah, when you go down to the coaching, I mean, like I said, they have
good coach.
They have certain things a part of that team where it's like, we know what we're doing in these situations. The reason that we're never out of games is because, and Jokic said this, he was like, we've been together for 5-6 years. Like the whole team, at least the most of the nucleus. So they know how to play. They know how to play off each other. Like Jokic is like, I know what you're gonna do if I pass you the ball here. You're gonna go with your left. If I pass you the ball here, you're gonna probably jump shoot. Like he knows every player on his team down to their marrow.
And having one of the smartest basketball players to ever walk the earth.
Yeah.
And just can do a little bit of everything and just knows where everybody is. To be able to run an offense through him is, I mean, how many opportunities do you get like that? I feel like a lot of players, I think you're going to keep seeing guys kind of end up there towards end of careers. I think he's going to be the new ring chasing guy.
Which would be great.
You know, it's just look at the results. Mm-hmm. And he's like 28.
Is he only 28?
He's not even 30 yet.
He like carries himself like he's 44, but he's only 28?
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
And he's got a game that'll age too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that ain't going nowhere. He never was fast.
He doesn't jump now.
All right, last matchup, and it's the only one that's actually already done. The Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh no, we got one that's what you got one that's close though.
Wait.
No, Clips Mavs.
Dang on it. Why did thank you, Dave.
What are you doing?
Wait. That's further down. Sorry.
Yeah.
That yes. I put that as a toss up.
That's a tough one to call. I love Luka, so I will pick the Mavs.
Okay.
In that one, I'll jump ahead of you on that. And Kyrie has been playing out of his mind. I like their lob catchers. I think the team has kind of figured something out.
Yeah.
But it's strangely enough, I would feel more comfortable picking them if Kawhi was playing, because this team kind of doesn't make as much sense for the Clippers with all of them. Everybody needs the ball too much.
We'll see, and this is my thing, and I've said this before. I wish they would just let Kawhi put the cape on, but Kawhi won't allow himself to put the cape on because he keeps getting hurt.
Yeah.
But Kawhi is the only one that I feel outside of James when James is cooking, but James cooking is fleeting.
Can't rely on that.
You can't rely on it anymore. So it's like the only one that's actually seen the promised land is Kawhi, and he's done it with two different teams, and he was the main focal point in both of those runs.
That's true.
So it's like he's the one guy where it's like, bro, every time down, like with the Raptors, every possession, he was either shooting or he was passing to an assist or passing to a pass.
He's at a stretch of being the best player in the world.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I wish, you know what I mean? Because, like, look, listen, if they're able to get through the Mavs, which is both of these teams are very, very good. Like, this one was like, like when the Clippers were having good season, okay, Clippers, and the Mavs came on at the end. I was like, I don't like that matchup at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Well, and Luka loves playing against them. You think they have the guys that can take Luka, and it's never proven to be true. But on top of that, I will steal this from the great Bomani Jones. Paul George, who is a player that I love and will always have a soft spot for, said Paul George can be your 1, Paul George can be your 3. Paul George cannot be your 2. It doesn't work. It never works out when he's the number 2 player. The year that he was number 3 in MVP voting, like Russ was the leader of the team, but Paul George was the best player of the team.
Yeah.
So if he's out there, the one getting you the buckets and the ball's in his hands, you can do that. But Paul George can't be the guy that sometimes has the ball in his hands.
And that's one of my main. You know how I feel about Paul George. I've never been a big fan of his after leg break Vegas. But because he's very selfish to me. And I think that goes back to what you're saying in terms of like, oh, Kawhi just had a good stretch. James had a good stretch. Well, I got to shoot. No matter what, if I touch a ball this possession, I'm shooting.
See, that's the thing is I see what you say there, but the problem is he's either too selfish or too unselfish. He never finds the balance, and that's one of the things I always thought was weird with this roster construction was how do you balance this? James Harden has to have the ball in his hands. PG kind of has to have the ball in his hands. Kawhi has to have the ball in his hands. And when you have Russ on the floor, the ball's going to be in his hands. If he takes it from you or not, the ball is going to be. So I understood and I saw the games where the potential and it was clicking. Like Zubac is not a bad player. He's actually a pretty good big.
Very, very solid.
But and Ty Lue is a good coach. I just don't see. Like I said, I can never imagine them beating. I can never imagine them beating Nikola Jokic. Like this series is a horrible matchup for them anyway. Because Luka has clearly shown you that he doesn't care which of these all-world defenders. Now, granted, Kawhi ain't Kawhi that he used to be.
Yeah.
But even when Kawhi has been healthy in some years, Luka has torched that man. Luka has torched PG several times.
Yeah.
And that's another first-team All-NBA defender.
Yeah.
Not against Luka. Now, Luka does present certain problems that, your average player doesn't.
Yeah.
And Luka and James Harden are very similar players. Luka's just bigger.
And better.
Yeah.
Even when James was James, Luka is a better version of James, I feel like.
Like I said, at the very least, a bigger version. They have a lot of game similarity.
Yeah.
But he has always been something special. And it's just there's not a player created to cover him because you're either too small or you're too slow.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to move that fast. or if you have the athletic traits, you're not smart enough to play the mental game with him, because he will pass. And now that they've given him 2 rim runners, he might be the best, like, just any part of the game throwing lob player in the league, because he throws them from unexpected angles.
Yeah.
He just throws weird lobs out there, and he's got 2 guys to go get it. One of whom I wanted. It was Daniel Gafford.
Shout out to the Wizards. All right, well, we can quickly go through the T-Wolves Suns. I said that the T-Wolves are going to win. I didn't expect a sweep, but and my main reason was quality depth. I felt like they just the Suns, we all felt this, just weren't built well. You trade all the rest of your team for Bradley Beal. You have 4 guys on the roster eating up 80% of your cap, 90% of your cap.
Yeah, it was. I'll stick to the T-Wolves for now. I thought T-Wolves are a much better constructed team. The Gobert trade was still too much for him, but this was the year that you started to understand why they did it. I think Chris Finch did a great job coaching that team. I mean, it was a 3-team race. All went down to the last day of the year for the number 1 seed. So they could just as easily have been playing the Pelicans or the Lakers as Phoenix. But the thing is, even before the playoffs, I was telling people when I was seeing how the seeding was shaking out with 1 of the 3, I wanted Phoenix. I thought Phoenix was now that was, of course, with a healthy Zion. I wanted to see Phoenix.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my goodness. Well, all right, let's go ahead and go quickly through some of this other stuff. So, my man Trav has a clip in the back. Is Anthony Edwards ready to take the next step into superstardom? I'll let him go ahead and roll the clip.
Day in my life, I'll be damned if that happens.
Fuck the big 3, nigga. It's just big me, nigga. That's a K with all these 9s. You gon' see Pet Cemetery, nigga.
Saying it respectfully, I don't know how teams are going to guard us.
Okay, so I think he's become a superstar in this league.
He's there.
Okay, and before we even go too deep into that, what makes a superstar in your opinion, George? I'll let you do that, Dave. What makes a superstar in your opinion?
I think, well, he's, strangely enough, one of the first 7 to bring up is he's already marketable at the highest level, which is signature shoes.
Okay.
I can't stand Adidas. His shoes are fantastic.
I like his shoe too.
He has nice shoes that people will want to wear. He is engaging. He is super media friendly. He's fun to watch.
Yep.
You can't. You watch that guy. He has had some of the best highlights of the last few years, and it's not close.
Yep.
And he has the mentality. He, at least for the time he's on the court, he hates everyone else, and he thinks he's better than everyone he steps on the floor with. Does not matter what team he's playing. I see it when he's playing. The way he looks at Shea when they play the Thunder, he thinks that man is terrible. And he thinks that about LeBron James. He thinks that about Steph Curry. There is not a player walking the earth that man does not 100% in his mind think he is better than. And yes, for some people that's delusional, but when you are at the athletic ability and the skill level that he has already, and he's young still.
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah.
I think he is so far ahead of schedule on the player that he's not even the player he's going to be. He can't really shoot yet.
Yeah.
And he plays great defense, but he decides to sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't. But he can lock people up.
Yep.
I think he has every possible trait, and it's overused these days, but he's a dog.
Yeah.
That guy, you want that guy on your side because, like I said, he literally believes you could give him 5 lesser players, and he's still going to think that it's the best team in the world because he's on it.
Yeah. I think now, so as far as what makes a superstar. I like everything you said. I feel like you become a superstar in the NBA or a superstar in sports when average people know who you are.
Right.
Like when you can say someone's name and an average person knows, and they don't have to know much about the sport or know much about you, and they know who you are, you've hit another point.
Right.
So
like the parent test. Like
yeah.
If once your parents have heard of somebody, that means they're good.
They've hit another point if they're not big sports people.
Right.
I think outside of obviously KD, LeBron, Steph, Giannis, Luka, that might be it for the league in terms of like
Jokic.
the old guard.
Embiid.
Yeah, Jokic, Embiid to an extent. But then there's aspects of Embiid that, like you said, Embiid's been in like 4 different company signature shoes. So like you ain't moving shoes. I've never seen your shoes
Big
ever.
men don't move shoes though.
Shaq did. Shaq was different
Shaq
though.
did.
Shaq's the
is
unicorn.
But he is the one big man to do it.
Yeah.
Till Wembanyama does it, which his shoes will move also.
Yeah, they will. But he's more KD than
Correct.
Shaq.
But yeah, no, but Embiid is big men aren't marketable.
Who do you think is the next wave of superstars? I think for me, Ja, even though Ja keeps shooting his way out of the spotlight.
Yeah, literally. Ja, we're gonna have to see proof of concept now because he didn't get a chance to come back from injury. It was Ja. It was Ja by miles.
Yeah,
he did that to himself.
yeah. He took a year
Wemby is coming. There's no question about that.
Yep.
Shea is going to be on that list soon.
Okay.
He's got another high MVP pick. He's going to be another first team All NBA. And
starting to get commercials now.
But not only are you starting to get commercials, it's one of the most annoying commercials of all time. I love them both, but good Lord. That song is being used against us like the Winter Soldier. We're going to all get turned activated one day. But I'm going to tell you, like Shea's going. Part of the reason Shea's going to be there is because once people start to see this team a little more,
Yeah.
they're going to see how much fun it is, and it's just guys like that. The guy that should be a superstar, and I don't know why I don't have him on that list. It's Jason Tatum.
Yep. It's the baby hair.
I don't know what it is.
It's the baby hair, man. Listen.
Maybe.
You can't,
I don't know.
it's hard being light skinned out here. You know what I'm saying?
It's not Devin Booker, though, either. Some
Nope.
people think it's Devin Booker.
Nope.
But Anthony Edwards is already past that man.
Yep. And you said earlier Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson, because of where he plays,
yes,
he's the king of New York, so
Yep.
he will have to be considered in this discussion, especially if he keeps playing like this. That man, because of that city, if he helps the Knicks win anything, he's a superstar by being a Knick.
Yep. And I think that by itself, especially if the Knicks make a deep run, like if the Knicks mess around and get to the finals, like say they take out the Celtics or whoever, if they're able to get out this round, get out the next round, if they make a finals run, that's cemented.
Oh, that's all we're all gonna hear about
forever. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, it's definitely different. New York being alive is different. But I know we're getting short on time. I've said to myself we're going to be over today, but it's all right. We got a little bit more. So we have to talk about Embiid. You've got the clip of Embiid fouling Mitchell Robinson. We have to talk about this play, so I'll let the clip play. All right, so Joel Embiid gets fouled, especially in the playoffs. That Lord have mercy, it's not a foul. Gets fouled.
Yeah, well, he gets a call that he would consider a foul because of how he has been officiated.
Fair. Immediately, see, and this was the part. This is why when I saw this clip, I was like, oh, that actually gives some more context to what happened. He felt he got fouled. The very next possession, he falls on defense and decides to grab the legs of Mitchell Robinson, forcing him to twist his ankle. Earlier in the game, in the first quarter, he also kicked Mitchell Robinson in the mommy daddy button as well. How was he not suspended for these plays? You can't, because he got a flagrant one on that play. Like, the NBA has already shown, when Draymond Green kicked LeBron in the dick, history was altered.
But that's a habitual line stepper too, though. I mean, there's a track record that came with that. So I think that's part of that. It's also the reigning MVP. He was gonna have to get a hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4 to somebody before you're going to suspend that man for a game.
Not a hacksaw. Oh.
Yeah, listen. That whole city would not be having it. There's no way.
In Philly too.
In
okay,
Philly,
that's fair as well. That's fair as well.
You would have to worry that they're going to burn the building down with players inside of it. You can't. Unfortunately, a big part with the NBA is superstars do get different leeway in things, and the reigning MVP, I can't imagine how badly he'd have to do something to get sat for the next game.
Yeah. Listen, it's do you think the Sixers are done?
Oh, they're cooked.
Yeah.
They're cooked. He's too hurt. He didn't get a chance to come back. The guy that was playing at the beginning of the year, if he was back healthy like that, well, once again, like I said, they wouldn't be playing the Knicks.
Yeah.
They'd be playing the Bucks or something. They'd be playing the Bucks, or they'd be playing the Pacers. They'd be playing somebody, and they'd be like in that 3-6 matchup.
Yeah.
Or they'd be the 2 matchup, and somebody else would be the 7.
Man, oh man. I mean, look, I'm. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it sucks that we never get to see full-fledged Joel Embiid, but this is like you said. You get hurt, and then they've dropped down to the 6th seed, 7th seed, and like.
Hey, you might see it next year. Maybe he'll get more rest when Paul George is there next year.
Yeah. Well, we do have one thing that I do want to get to before we get out of here, before we get to NFL, and that is it is time to introduce everyone to Death Star Dave. So we'll go ahead and cue up the music for the Death Star.
Let me tell you something. As anybody that knows me knows, I love Kevin Durant. I do. Through all his horrific haired glory, I have loved that man. But good Lord, when is enough enough? This is yet another team that he's gonna be asking his way out of there. They're already throwing Frank Vogel, which, by the way, Frank Vogel was a horrible pickup for them too. Listen, they're a team that, thanks to KD and a dumb new owner, which new owners do dumb stuff, they all do. They blessed the Wizards by taking that Brad Beal contract off their hands. Because good Lord, that's a horrific contract. And like I said, ran Chris Paul out of town when, hey, you know what works in basketball, especially in modern basketball? A point guard's a pretty nice thing to have, right? Oh, and you have one big man, it's Yusuf Nurkic. And people need to stop listening to Shaq. Bol is terrible. KD is out here, but the biggest push for all of this is KD. So now, okay, first off, let's go back in time. Didn't want to play with Russ anymore. I love Russ. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart, but I get it. Okay, so you go. Could you have been the king of New York? Absolutely. Your manager, Rich Kleiman, was begging for you to be a Knick. If KD was a Knick, there'd be a statue of him outside the Garden already. I can't imagine how horrific that hair would look on that statue, or maybe they'd help the man out. I don't know. But should have been a Knick? No. Got to go and make the worst bet possible to go with Kyrie at crazy time to Brooklyn, a city that no one was ever going to care. Brooklyn could have won 3 championships in a row. There wouldn't be Nets fans. There'd be Knicks fans still. So, okay, gets tired of that, then brings in James Harden. James Harden got sick of that act real quick. I don't blame James Harden on that one. I blame Kyrie on that one. But KD enabled that. So, okay, fire the coach and I'll stay. So he fires by the coach that he begged to go to. Oh, by the way, I've left out the whole Golden State part where, I'm sorry that people like Steph more. He played there first. And so it didn't get to be your city. And are you a better player than Steph? Yes. Are you a greater player than Steph? No. You think you want the mantle until they want to give the mantle to you. So Brooklyn's supposed to be the spot, then it wasn't. And you went to a place that's always going to be a lesser player in Devin Booker's team. Devin Booker's the guy there. So you did it again. So now what's left? You know the trade demand's coming. The passive-aggressive LeBron is traded, and he wants to be like LeBron this way. Why is the lesson he's taken from LeBron's career being the GM? LeBron's a horrific GM. KD is also horrific. Remember, they could have still had Jared Allen there when they were with the Nets, but no, they like hanging out with DeAndre Jordan.
And that is the Death Star Dave moment. So it's KD. KD was the focus for today. So
my LeBron one later after they're eliminated will be better.
Okay, all right.
I got a lot on that, man.
We've got something for that. So we're gonna close the show with the NFL draft recap. So we're gonna get through this really, really quick. We don't have too much to talk about too much. The first 4 picks were pretty chalk overall. There was a lot of sayings, a lot of things going around that
I think it went super chalk till 8.
You felt like it was all the way to 8.
Oh yeah, everything kind of the consensus really lined up with all those, like where they were going. If there were no trades, this is who you got to take.
Yeah, and I know that you felt that way about Joe Alt because you were saying just in terms of Harbaugh and what he wants to do. He wants to run the ball. He's looking for that offensive lineman. I felt like they were gonna go receiver, but they didn't. So,
but you look at Harbaugh's teams. You go back to when he went to Stanford. USC and Oregon were outrunning the whole world. So what do? They bring in bruisers to knock everybody around. When he goes to the 49ers, they already have a line, but they built off of that, knock everybody around.
Yeah.
Running one of those Greg Roman offenses. Then he goes to Michigan. First thing he does, and what he's done in the successful last few years, it's a lot of transfers on the offensive line, a lot of smaller all conference guys, just loading them up, 5th-year seniors, and just running through people.
Yep.
Like they did in Columbus. Twice out of the last 3 years. And at home, one of them, too.
As you said, though, the drama started at 8, and that was Michael Penix Jr. being drafted at 37 years of age with 2 bad knees to the Atlanta Falcons after they had just given Kirk Cousins $180 million over 4.
Listen, when he wears the do-rag, that man looks like he should have like a cool hanging out and like he's already paying like 3 different alimonies. He's not that old, but man, they puts the do-rag on. He looks old.
Listen, when I saw the memes over dogs in Atlanta when they heard that there was another left-handed quarterback named Michael being drafted to the team, I couldn't breathe.
Well, hey, at least Kristi Noem ain't their governor.
I could not breathe. But your Bills needed a wide receiver 1, and they gift wrapped Tyreek Hill back to the Chiefs.
What a wild turn of events, because I was like, you know what? All the mock drafts, like, oh, Bills are getting Xavier Worthy. It's like, I don't want Xavier Worthy, because you know what happens with the Xavier Worthys of the world? Their names used to be, Henry Ruggs, John Ross. I could go through the names of all the super fast combine guys that never panned out. Receiver is the worst first round pick as far as actually panning out. But
not there.
I didn't want him to go there. I was just like, they're like sitting there the whole thing. It's like, don't trade with them. Remember what happened the last time they traded with them? Patrick Mahomes went there. Oh,
look,
it's just like if you told me any other team had Xavier Worthy, I'm like, he'll probably flame out of the league in a couple years. Just like, they acquired Hollywood Brown, and then I saw workouts of him throwing to Hollywood Brown. I'm like, 3 in a row now. Great, this is fantastic. I love it.
Outside of Hollywood Brown, they now have Xavier Worthy, and then they also have that new rugby kid that ran a 4.2 something.
Great. It's fantastic.
The more
the merrier. And Rashee Rice, if he doesn't end up in jail.
Yeah. If he's not outrunning 120 miles an hour.
If he's not in the Longest Yard remake.
Starring him and Henry Ruggs.
Yeah. Cool. That'd be a combo.
We're not losing. They're playing both ways.
Yeah, just it's 9 routes all day.
Oh my gosh. The Eagles continue stockpiling great players.
Oof.
They had they got 2 corners, I think the 2 highest rated corners in the draft.
Depending on who you talk to, but they both were way up there. And I mean, DeJean's going to get put at some safety too, but he can also, he's a special teams guy.
Yeah.
Listen, he's the great white hope at corner. He's our first white corner since Jason Sehorn. That was a long time ago. A lot of you people probably weren't even alive to see Jason Sehorn play.
The Giants. I remember Jason Sehorn. He used to give the Redskins fits. And then, listen, as much as people were ranting and raving, the Cowboys are getting serious about rebuilding their O-line. People didn't like the pick, but that offensive line was starting to show some cracks, and they're staying on top of it. That's not a bad pick.
No, I hate when teams I hate, which on the long list of teams I hate, the Cowboys are definitely towards the top. Mm-hmm. I hate when teams I hate start getting smart
and doing the right thing. That's right thing.
Like, what? Why do we need to back up the truck to Dak Prescott? What have we ever won with him?
Yeah,
it's like, I know you've had good regular seasons, and at the end of those regular seasons, they usually end up seeing San Francisco in the playoffs, get dog walked, and live to fight another day. Yeah. So it's like they're not paying Dak. They're making everybody kind of prove it, and they're making offensive line picks. These are the smart picks. It's like offensive linemen aren't flashy, but I read a thing the other day. They were showing the statistics basically where they consider you a successful pick if the team that drafted you gave you a second contract. Mm-hmm. The top 3 positions were, now granted, some of them aren't picked that much, but center was number 1.
Yeah,
only one person didn't get a second contract. Guard was 2, tackle was 3.
Yeah.
Bottom was wide receiver.
Doing the right things.
And quarterback is towards the bottom. So unless you know you got it, don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you think the linemen, if you have a good grade on them, go get it.
Yeah. Because they stick around a lot more than other positions. You know what I mean? Like they'll play into that second contract if you get the right guy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so, and their team is just, you start looking at their left tackle. Their left tackle's now, I think he left the team.
Yeah.
Smith, right?
Smith, yeah, he went to the Jets.
He's gone. And then, they still have the pieces of a great offensive line. They started getting older. So doing the right things.
Terrible to say. I hate when they're doing the right thing.
I hate it too, but
go pay Dak, Jerry.
Yes, please pay him.
Bring Zeke Elliott back.
Oh, I saw that too.
See, I like it. So they're not fully out of the woods yet.
But, all right, before we get out of here, we're doing all right. Not too bad. 4 minutes over. Before we get out of here, we got to talk about the Bears' new $5 billion stadium. It's going to be a dome, so that actually will make all 3 out of the 4 teams in the NFC North domed teams outside of obviously the Packers.
Which, by the way, to be realistic, I mean, I know we all talk about football weather, but man, if I was a free agent, I wasn't going to any of those cold weather teams outside.
Yeah. Now we're inside.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that I will say could help save Caleb Williams, because we still got to see him in the weather. He's, you know what I mean? Like,
Caleb Williams is going to be just fine.
You think so?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I believe in Caleb Williams.
All right, we'll talk about that another time. We do have a picture of the new dome stadium for the Bears. Yeah, here it is. Bears. Hey, can we copy your homework? Raiders.
Wow.
Yeah. But just switch it up a little.
I hadn't seen this before.
And not make it obvious.
Yikes.
It looks exactly the same.
Is this a real picture?
Yes. This is their rendering. Like, the field shape is a little different.
So you're telling me that somebody got paid
Yep.
to do
recreate
this clear
Allegiant.
Photoshop job.
Yeah. The only difference is the lights. The dome is a little different. And obviously the landscape is different because they don't got the strip in the background. But the video boards, the
open to the side, the way the roof looks.
Everything.
Oh, man, that's shameful. Should be ashamed. I mean, that's as bad as the Bears' the fact that the Bears' best quarterback ever is Caleb Williams, who has not played a game yet.
All right, well, I'll finish this out on this. So, and I'm going to say this is no more false starts for my Redskins, Commanders, Washington football team. No more false starts. No more burned draft picks. No more bad contracts. No more missed opportunities. No more. No more scandals. Is Jaden Daniels the future? I don't know. Can Dan Quinn recapture old glory? I hope so. I just have one thing to say on my Redskins. Win. And we'll see you guys next time.